elections.
Presidential.
No reforms, no elections. The reforms have not come out, so there will be no elections.
Let me ask Simekha, because he might answer this question for us. Simekha, welcome to Hot 96.
Thank you very much and good morning.
Good morning. 3 days and 3 nights to go before the repeat election. They call it repeat election. Jalango says there will be no election. Simekha, your thoughts?
Yes, depends on what you understand for the word election to mean. I would also tell you there will be no election in the legal sense of a presidential election.
But you will say people will show up.
Well, maybe some people will show up to participate in what Jubilee and some people at IEBC are planning. But if really as a nation we want to plan a repeat presidential election, then we would plan a repeat presidential election in which everyone has confidence that, we are planning a repeat presidential election and it would happen, and we would all know that there is a repeat presidential election.
Yeah. Wow.
So I think that's why you hear that, there'll be an election, there'll be no election. When a country finds itself in that way, a section of the population believes there will be, another section believes there won't be, kuna shida hapo.
Jeff, let me just tell you why I think you're just closing your eyes under your Jubilee miasma and has refused to actually see the situation in the country. If there's election, there is election.
Right.
Am I lying? If there's election, was there election on the 8th of August?
There was election.
Was the country ready for elections?
It was.
Was there somebody saying there will be election, there will not be election?
No.
So there won't be election.
But what is your point? Is your point because Baba withdrew, there's no election?
It's not about Baba withdrawing. It's just putting up all the legal framework that puts the country in a mood and confidence of about an election that is supposed to come.
Simekha, you heard the president last night.
Yes.
He was asked, will there be a credible election? Which a lot of critics are saying it doesn't look like it will be credible. And his answer was something to the fact that, look, those who want to go vote can have the freedom to vote. And those who do not want to vote have the freedom not to vote. Isn't that fair?
No, it's not fair, because we have, what is it that we are voting in? As a nation, we have to have such agreement, and I like the way Jalas has put it. As a nation, we have to have such an agreement in it that there's no question about it. Do we ever discuss whether there will be Christmas or no Christmas? Do we discuss whether there will be Easter or no Easter?
Do you ever discuss your birthday? Your birthday comes in January. Is it 4th January?
7th.
7th January?
Yeah.
And it is 7th and you know it is coming.
Yes.
Do you bargain with it? Oh, there will be a birthday, there will not be a birthday. That's how an election should be.
Yeah,
it's Christmas, it is Christmas.
It's known. The whole nation believes that there will be an election, and it's known. But just as a beginning, there is doubt whether.
What do you call this thing on Thursday, Simekha? What do you call it?
You really want my honest
Yes,
opinion?
please.
I think it will be a charade, or just a charade, because honestly, in all fairness, let us as a nation plan an election that strictly follows the constitution and the law, in which everyone has confidence. Look, here's an election in which the people who are responsible, who are supposed to manage it, do not even have confidence in it. I say, look, we can't even guarantee you that we'll actually have anything close to a credible election.
Yeah.
Now, if the very person responsible for it says that, who are we, the rest of us out here, to insist that there will be something called an election?
Wow, Jeff, let me put things to you in the best perspective.
Go on.
You understand? Commissioner who was almost the face of the commission,
Roslyn Akombe.
You see, you could easily say, you know what, there's Chebukati, there's Chelomba, then there's, I don't know any other commissioner anyway, you understand?
Yeah.
Quits, and now he's shooting from abroad. Everything she's putting us in doubt, you understand?
Yeah.
She's not ready, she's not part of, or she can't be part of this, and she was actually the one who was sent to even oversee the printing of the ballot. Then
before she fled.
Then she fled. And you spoke to her the other day.
Yeah,
you spoke to Akombe.
Yes.
What did she tell you?
Well, she said she feared for her life, and she wasn't sure this would be a credible election.
Oh, then why would you yourself want to participate?
Because it's my democratic right after the Supreme Court called for an election in 60 days.
Do you think it will be credible?
Do I think?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to vote.
problem is
Simekha, are you voting?
Certainly not. I mean, I can only vote in an election if, there is an election that I believe there is an election. But
Are you voting? Are you voting?
myself.
What do you mean yourself? Who do I think
Did you hear what
am
Baba
I talking
said?
to your
Did
shadow?
you hear what Baba
What
said?
did Baba say?
There will be no
So you're not voting?
Yes, I will not vote. No, I will not vote. which is the correct English? Which is the correct English?
Simekha, you see there's even doubt here.
Help me with the correct English here. No, I will not vote. That's it.
No, you will not.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
you got it finally.
Simekha.
But I was going to tell you, Jeff,
Yes.
I hear this language of 60 days a lot. And that's just cherry picking one bit of the order of the Supreme Court. In accordance, and they were just reaffirming what the Constitution says, that if there's to be a repeat presidential election, after annulment of a presidential election result, it should happen in 60 days. Fair enough. But that's not the only thing they said.
Right.
The other extremely important thing they said that people do not like to talk about is it must be held in strict accordance with the Constitution and applicable laws. From the beginning, as we say in law, ab initio, i.e. be sure that they're not prepared to hold it in strict accordance with the Constitution and election laws. So a lot of people who are making noises and saying there'll be an election, they love to pick this thing of 60 days.
Right.
But they refuse to talk about the other condition that the Supreme Court, gave.
So,
in
Simekha,
strict accordance with the Constitution and applicable laws.
So come Friday or come Saturday, when the announcement is made and it looks quite obvious who's going to be the winner, does that mean that 6.8 million people who may not vote will be disenfranchised, will be left out?
Well, I don't think you need to wait for Thursday to know that. That has already happened. That millions of people have already been disenfranchised, that the winner of whatever is being planned is already known, that perhaps what is just we are waiting for is a coronation. So you don't need to wait for Thursday. In fact, I dare say that why are we spending billions of shillings pretending that we are printing ballot papers?
13 billion.
Why don't we just say we're crowning this gentleman the next president to succeed himself? And then we deal with that situation.
13 billion shillings.
Yes. Why are we spending that money the way we are doing? In a poor nation like this one.
So is this an exercise in futility?
Absolute futility. In absolute futility. Look at the circumstances in which it's being pushed. As we've said, may sound to some people like a joke. An election, particularly a national election, should not be something that we wrangle over, that some people doubt, that we even have to force people to accept, that we have to carry out a campaign to remind people that there will be an election. It should be something we all know as a nation, and we even all look forward to as a nation, that is going to be an election. But for what is being planned to spend this amount of money, look at the loss of life, look at the destruction of property, look at the environment that it's created in this nation. It's extremely unfortunate.
Wow.
Do you think there will be a Supreme Court issue like the last time? Will someone go to the Supreme Court to challenge the results?
It is possible. Someone will most likely go to the Supreme Court. I do not think that will be Honorable Raila. I think, at least going by what he said publicly, he's not going to the Supreme Court to challenge. But I do think that there are more than enough people ready and already preparing to go to the Supreme Court to challenge whatever comes out of, or whatever declaration may be made out of the Thursday 26th.
Yeah. Now, Simekha, Baba said that on Wednesday the 25th, he's going to make an announcement.
Yes.
What do you think he would say at this late stage of the game? What do you think he would say?
I cannot second guess him. But already he's given us hints. He's already talked about short-term, medium-term, and long-term measures, that this is going to be a long-haul struggle. This is reminiscent of the 1990s when the country had to push Moi and Kanu to change. People who are cheering on what is going on should just better remember that, unless they were too young to know. And they can read in history books and go back to history to know what happened from the 80s into the 90s before we acquired, progressively some semblance of reform and changes in the governance of this nation. So I believe that what Baba will say on Wednesday is, again, just to prepare people for what is in store for us, that this is going to be a long haul. It's not, by the way, it's no longer about a presidential contest. It went well beyond that long time ago. It's about a wrong foundation that needs to be uprooted and then redone so that we can continue with the reform process, particularly with regards to electoral justice in Kenya.
It's the Hot Breakfast with Jeff and Jalango.